I'm going to try not to get too riled up and angry in this video because I want to make sure that people get the message. But people need to wake up in this country, and they need to wake the hell up fast. We are 1930s Germany. We're not becoming 1930s Germany. We are 1930s Germany right now. Donald Trump has in place a concentration camp where he is kidnapping people. These aren't arrests because they're illegal. They are kidnappings. And they are not deportations because deportation is a legal process, and there is no legal process here. This is kidnapping and rendition to a concentration camp run by a foreign dictator who is buddy-buddy with Trump. That's what's going on right now. This isn't an argument over immigration policy. The President of the United States is illegally kidnapping people off the streets of America who have legal right to be here and is sending them to concentration camps. You know, we have, for a long time now, made the parallels between Trump and Mustache Guy in Germany in the 30s and 40s. And the parallels are uncanny. There are a lot of political parallels. For example, both of them tried to overthrow their countries. They staged coups. Mustache Guy went to prison for it. We let our guy off, and we reelected him. So that's a parallel. There's lots of other political parallels, but now we are seeing policy parallels, more and more of those, and action parallels. He is doing the same thing, many of the same things as Mustache Guy. And you know, whenever you talk about that, when you draw those parallels, people say, oh, that's ridiculous. He's not putting people into ovens. He's not mass murdering millions of people. Well, not yet. Mustache Guy didn't start out doing that either. But even if we never get there, and I hope to God we don't, the parallels are still apt. And you know, it's often been said, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And it is rhyming right now more than a freaking Dr. Seuss book. And people need to wake up and see what's going on, and they're not. And one of the reasons they're not is because we have a absolutely pathetic, worthless media whose coverage aids and abets this dictator. Now, let me talk a little bit more about the parallels. Mustache Guy in Germany was elected chancellor on January 30th, 1933. Donald Trump became president January 20th. Mustache Guy opened his first concentration camp just a couple months later in March 22nd, 1933. Donald Trump started his concentration camp in March also, in this El Salvadoran prison camp. That's Trump's concentration camp. And by the way, when Bukele was here for that Oval Office meeting with Donald Trump, and the two of them were caught talking, it wasn't supposed to have been picked up. You've probably heard the tape. But Trump told him, you need to build more of these. You need to build at least 5 more of these, because next we're going to start sending the homegrowns to you, meaning American citizens, and we're going to need more space. You need to build more concentration camps for me. Donald Trump is not building concentration camps here in America yet. He has decided to pay a fellow dictator in El Salvador, pay him to run Trump's concentration camps for him. But that is exactly what this is. The people who are being sent, well, I said I wasn't going to get too angry. I'll try not to. Ask yourself this question. because I'm not really hearing this being asked in this way. Why are we sending people to this concentration camp in El Salvador? Because I thought this was supposed to be about deportations, right? That's what our criminal president and his regime tell us. This is about deporting these people. They don't have a right to be here, so Trump claims, although he's never proven that. And we know for a fact some of them, at least, were here legally. But he says they are not here legally, and they are a threat to the country, and so we are deporting them. Well, what does deportation mean? It means that we send them back to their country of origin. We've been deporting lots and lots of people here for a very long time. Barack Obama deported a lot of people. He just sent them back to their country of origin. He didn't send them to a prison camp for the rest of their lives run by some third world dictator. He just sent them back to their country of origin. That's what deportation is. Now, if they committed a crime in this country, what you do is you indict them, you charge them, you put them on trial, you convict them, then you sentence them to prison. They serve their prison sentence, and then you can deport them. I was a prosecutor. I prosecuted a lot of people who were in this country illegally. We sent them to prison, and after completing their sentence, then they were deported. After paying their debt to the American society, whose laws they violated. That's how it's supposed to be handled if they committed a crime. But they haven't been charged with anything here. And they're not simply being deported to their country of origin. They are being sent to a concentration camp in a third world shithole run by a dictator, Trump's buddy. That's what's going on here. So why? Why are they doing that? Why are they not deporting people as is supposed to be the case? Why are they not just returning them to their country of origin? Because this is laying the groundwork for doing this to the American people. That's what this is. These are concentration camps. These people are being sent not for a defined period of time to serve some prison sentence and then they'll be released. No, they're being sent there to be held indefinitely for the rest of their lives, to die in these prison camps, these concentration camps. That's what's going on here. Why? Why is he doing this? He's testing. This is all a test. He's starting out with these people he labels as illegals or gang members or terrorists. But where's this going? It's going exactly where he told Bukele it's going. Next come the homegrowns. Next come the American citizens. We're going to need more of these concentration camps. I need at least 5 more because next I'm going to send you American citizens. That's where this is headed. And if he gets away with this here, with Abrego Garcia and the others, next he's coming for American citizens. If he can kidnap Abrego Garcia and these others, no hearing, no due process, and send them for the rest of their lives to a concentration camp in El Salvador, then he can do it to you or I. He could do it to anyone, for any reason. If he can get away with this, not having to produce evidence, not having to give court hearings, no due process, if he can get away with it, then he could do it to an American citizen. Why not? You simply kidnap an American citizen who you want to disappear, and you just send him to a concentration camp. And then if a court tells you to bring him back, you say, screw you, I don't have any jurisdiction, and you can't tell me what to do anyway. This is foreign policy, and the courts have no say. Well, you can't do this to an American citizen. Who says I can't? We're at war. And who says he's an American citizen? I say he's an illegal. I say he's a terrorist. I say he's a gang member. So screw you, court. That person is staying there. They're in the right place. You hear Pam Bondi talking about Abrego Garcia? Now she says his wife and kids are better off with him in that prison camp in El Salvador. What's going on in this country is 100% pure evil. We are not headed to 1930s Germany. It's here. Next is American citizens. That's what this is all about. And why? Political dissent. That's where this is going. People who politically dissent from this dictatorship. It's happened in many countries throughout history. Political dissidents are kidnapped and disappeared to some gulag in Siberia or wherever the hell around the world. This isn't new. They're following the exact same playbook that has been followed by dictators around the world throughout history. And you know why most people in this country have no freaking idea? Because they probably think to themselves, oh, that's just all hyperbole. If Donald Trump was really doing anything like that, surely the media would tell us about it. So that Romano report over there on YouTube, that guy's crazy. The media would tell me if that's what was really going on. And you know, I got a comment yesterday, I'll end it with this, to one of my videos, and it was a person, I wish I could have gone, I tried to find it, I couldn't find it, but the person said essentially this, I don't care about Trump. I don't, I'm not a Trump person. I don't really care one way or the other about Trump. But these people are criminals and they shouldn't be in this country. So I don't have a problem with them being sent to El Salvador because they shouldn't be here anyway and they're criminals and terrorists and gang members. I told you weeks ago when this first happened and he invoked the Alien Enemies Act and he started kidnapping people. And by the way, I have a suggestion about what Democrats can do about this, but I don't have time to get to it here. But if you want to hear about that, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. I promise you're going to want to hear this. Anyway, when this started happening, I told you why he did this. Because he didn't need to invoke the Alien Enemies Act in order to deport people. But this was never about deportation. This was about setting up a showdown with the Supreme Court. Because in order to become an absolute dictator, Donald Trump needs to nullify the other two branches of government. He's already got Congress in his pocket. They're nullified. They're not an issue. He's got to get rid of the courts or nullify the courts. He doesn't have to actually dissolve Congress or the courts. He just needs to essentially nullify them so that they have no effect and he can just ignore them. And invoking the Alien Enemies Act and kidnapping people and sending them to a concentration camp in El Salvador. This was all about setting up a showdown with the Supreme Court, because if you're going to defy the Supreme Court, as was their plan from the beginning, so that he could nullify the Supreme Court, you pick a case where you can get as much of the people on your side as possible, so that when you defy the court, as many people as possible support you in defying the court. And so he knew that he can do it most effectively by in a case of deportation, which he says is deportation, which is really illegal kidnapping. Because he could then frame it as, you know, if once the Supreme Court shuts him down, rules against him, he can say, I'm going to ignore the Supreme Court. All I'm trying to do here is protect the American people against terrorists and gang members and illegal aliens. And the Supreme Court wants to protect them and endanger the American people. And therefore, I have to defy the Supreme Court. And people like this commenter here on YouTube are exactly the kind of people that Trump is targeting with this. You know, obviously he has his cultists on board. They will support him no matter what he does. But people who don't even support Trump, but oppose illegal immigration and crime, as, you know, we all do, they are susceptible to this. People who don't really understand any of this, don't care to be informed, don't care to understand the importance of due process and rule of law and the Constitution. They are easily taken in by an argument like this. So this person, when she said, you know, I'm not a Trump person, but, you know, I don't care. These people shouldn't be here anyway, so I don't care if they're sent to El Salvador. That's what this was all about. Because a lot of people will go right along with this because of how the issue will be framed. And once Donald Trump effectively nullifies the Supreme Court, once this whole issue involving Abrego Garcia goes back to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court orders him to bring that person back, and he says, screw you, Supreme Court. I don't see you as a valid authority over me. I am defying you. You can't tell me what to do. Then that's it. It's game over. Congress will have been is already nullified. The Supreme Court will have been nullified. He will have the powers of a dictator. That's where we're at. And now he will have his system of concentration camps in operation in El Salvador. Remember, build at least 5 more of them, because I'm going to start sending you American citizens. That's where this is going. That's where this is going. And people don't see it. People need to wake the hell up. You wonder how this has happened in other countries? You know, when Mustache Guy started his first concentration camp, putting it into operation on March 22nd, 1933. Do you think most of the German people had any idea what was really going on? No. Same thing now. We are 1930s Germany. Wake the hell up. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Look out for my new videos.